We are on. Welcome, Raza, to the conversation. It's Raza here, talking to Teresa Dishkova. How are you doing today?
Okay.
Yeah, good. So we're gonna jump right into the conversation. My first question would be that what are you doing these days? And how do you even introduce yourself before a conversation like that?
Well, I introduce myself as Teresa Dushkova, and for a long time I would have said that I'm an actress, but I've spent the past 5 years trying to be something more, trying to get out of that single-minded obsession of mine. So I would say first and foremost, I'm a human being, and then hopefully an artist.
Yeah, that's a good introduction. So what are you doing these days as an artist, as a human being?
Yep, so I just finished training at a drama school, an acting conservatoire, and I, for the first week of my life, am an adult and not a student. Mm-hmm. So from 6 till 24 and a half, I've been in full-time education.
Okay.
And now I'm at the beginning of something new.
Good. So let's cover some ground here to get some background.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you from? And we are here having this conversation in London, in UK. How long have you been in the UK? And I would like to know your journey and how did you imagine it when you were young, when you were in your country, in your city, and now sitting here in this present moment, how do you think it turned out? And what journey did you took?
I come from the Czech Republic, from a small city called Brno. A very nice city, very calm, not many people, mostly students. And I moved to the UK when I was 19. And it was a complete coincidence that I chose Edinburgh, which is where I moved to first, and that I even made the decision to come because my dream since I was 15, we can talk about that later, was to become an actress. And so I applied to 2 drama schools that we have in the Czech Republic, in Brno and in Prague. And that was my dream. And I didn't get in either. The day I found out that I didn't get into the Prague one, which is the top school in my country, I was 3 places from getting in. And I spent the whole day crying, basically. It broke my heart. I thought that was it. I thought I was going to have to wait for another year to get to apply again, or maybe I was going to have to start a different career. And then I completely randomly started sending applications and videos everywhere I could because I decided that I couldn't give up that easily. And they got back to me from Edinburgh. So that was a complete just card of fate. Mm-hmm. And since then, every step I took, it was unplanned, and it surprised me. So none of where I am right now is planned, except that when I was 12, I had a wild dream that I would love to study at a London drama school one day, but it wasn't something that I would ever think could be possible.
So you, at 12, dreamt of studying in London in drama school?
Maybe when I was like 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so just to give a bit of context, I know you for 6.5 years now.
5.5.
Well, yes, 5.5. 5.5. I feel like I know you forever. So, okay, accuracy. But in those 5.5 years, I have seen that you set your goals, and those feel like from an outside that they are really ambitious. But I think nearly all of them, you were able to achieve it. And you are really young right now. So to be able to set a goal and when you're 15 and to be able to achieve something this wild from a perspective which is not used to something like that, it is remarkable and also really alien. So tell me how your relationship is with this ambition of yours. Ambition in itself, how do you define it? And this goal which you set to achieve, how strong did you promise to yourself to actually achieve it?
That's a very complex question with a few different strands to explore. But I think it was life or death for me. That's how strong I wanted it. I, until now, cannot really imagine myself doing anything else. Simply because of the way I see the world, of the way I think. And the more and more I do this, I realize how much of a match it is for me, which I didn't know when I was 15. It was something completely unconscious that I decided to do this. Or maybe because I'm doing it for so long, my body is changing to adjust. To be honest, I don't know. But it seems like I have the predispositions to be doing this job, and I couldn't do much else.
Is it because this job has requirement to give everything? And we are talking about acting, field of acting or filmmaking.
Not even that. It's just, yes, it's very competitive. It is very nerve-wracking. It can be really anxious, and it gives you all the opposites, really. So, but also you have to be really good at observing the world around you and interpreting it in your own way, and then presenting that to others. And this interpretation has to be somehow interesting or truthful. Yeah. So, for example, when we are having a conversation right now, already I started thinking about the way you sit, about how you prepared for this. I can see how important it is for you. I saw how focused you were just before we began. You wouldn't even talk. You were completely on one, you had completely one focus to make this perfect. So, and when you talk, I pay 50% of my attention to what you're saying and 50% to how your face moves, how you sound, what you might be thinking, what your hands are doing, all these things.
So this is the point which I want to explore more as an actor, what kind of trainings you have got, and how your brain is editing things very differently to actually mine. When I'm right now talking to you in this conversation, I can give you my point of view, which is always about the sound of your words and what that means. and how those sounds create these ideas in my brain inside of my body rather than outside, and how those structures are then informing my reality. And that is how my brain edits information, which is actually very different than how you are doing it. Is it
Yeah.
because since when you remember having interpreting your world like this?
Since ever, I remember that when my best friend, we went to school together for 8 years, between 11 and 19. And I remember when we were just little kids, my friend, like 12 years old maybe, at school, my friend would always make fun of me that I observe people too obviously all the time. I constantly kept looking at people and telling her what they're doing, how they're looking, what they're feeling in each moment. And she would always be like, "You're not listening to me."
So you just wanted to spy on people,
basically.
and you took acting,
especially
as, like,
on the boys.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. So you were like, okay, let me hide behind. Oh, I'm just studying people as a method actress, so I can play a role. That's a nice trick. I call that same.
And I've been always playing different characters as well.
Yes.
That's
in your
another
real
thing.
life.
In my real life, yes.
Okay. Like, don't we all play different characters?
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. We all wear different hats, but
possibly.
But we are maybe not as aware because we are not observing neither ourselves or others in that way. Possibly that's why for you it is more prevalent than anyone like me.
Yeah.
So you are in drama center. You just completed your master's, and I want to know more about this training of yours, because I want to find out more the point of view of how do you interact with the skills of acting while having this personality.
So, okay, my training, that's very there is a lot to explore. Because it was so intense. It was 1 year, but I would spend 9 hours at uni every day, and you're just in this one room with a group of people. There was 19 of us, and you spend together every day, basically exploring yourselves, your personalities, and each other's personalities, and exploring the psychology of people and what it means and how to interpret it correctly, and then present it to the world. So number one is that you have to be honest with yourself. Because if you're not, then first of all, you can't draw on the right things. Even if you're creating a character, it always comes from yourself and how you look at world, who you are, and you bring different parts of yourself into the character, and then you get rid of certain parts that you don't need, and then you bring some things from the outside as well. So you have to be honest. You have to go really deep, because there is no other way. You just have to dive in. You have to explore your strengths, your weaknesses, your childhood, how it affected you, who you are. And we do a lot of exercises that explore all these things. It's not that we just talk about it.
Okay, so when you say you have to go deep and then be honest, I would like to unpack these a little bit more. When you say you have to be honest, what does that mean for you? How honest? Because I can say more about it, that why am I want to go into this is because honesty, how I've been told, is a very different thing. It is mostly external. You see the scenario, you say the thing, how you see it sometimes. But there are different definitions of honesty. There is a definition of honesty where you feel the interpreter in yourself, and you, from a place of presence, from a place of whatever state, mindful, whatever the word is for everyone, you observe that, and you see the duality of an interpreter and the reality, and then you act upon it. Which definition, or what honesty are we talking about when you say that to interpret character you have to be honest?
I think I just mean much simpler. I just mean being honest to yourself.
Okay.
You're constantly judging yourself in a way. And so you have to be honest. You have to know when you're lying to yourself.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We lie to ourselves
all the
so
time.
much. I think that's one of the hardest thing. In my life, we are very tricky and smart to fool our own selves. Okay, and then when you said that you have to go deep, what aspects are we talking about?
Basically, to be able to play any kind of character. You can play a serial killer. You can play a mother of 5. You can play a little kid. I mean, you have to do justice to all these characters. That's the whole point. We can talk about this, and that's different for everyone. But for me, the point of art is really exploring the world in the spiritual and emotional side of the world, not the physical one. So, like, you would have biology or physics or chemistry to explore all the physical aspects of the world, but then I think for the non-physical ones, there are stories and art, and that's why it's so important. Where did I start? Where am I going with this?
Yeah. I mean, you're exploring deeper.
Yeah, but exploring deeper. And so that's why, and because I said at least I always draw on myself, I have to find these things somewhere. And we all have them, all of them.
So these emotions we have, these experiences we have deeper down.
Exactly, and you have to take them out, and you have to use them.
And when you say spiritual, I just want to make it easier. And, just this word has so much interpretation. Spiritual could mean intuitions.
Yeah.
Spiritual could mean things we can only feel beyond language, but we don't know how to interact with them sometimes. Or spiritual could just mean the sense of presence which we have.
Totally. Or it could just be wondering, why am I here?
Okay.
For me, that is spiritual.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? I think a lot of films are about that. What's the point? What's the purpose? Who are we? Who am I? What do I want?
Yeah.
That's spiritual.
Yeah. I like it because, true, this is a good perspective. I mean, most of the art, this is people's answer.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best ways to look for an answer or to even discuss this.
I agree. I think Stephen Kotler, Jamie Wheal from Flow Genome, he said that we never stop worrying about why am I here and what's the purpose of this universe. We just grow mature to stop asking it like this.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What a beautiful way to explore the question. So we are not even trying to find an answer, because maybe an answer would bring art to very factual and domains which are done from different discipline or different modalities.
Well, you can give me the answers if you have them, but
No,
I don't even think there are any answers to most of these questions.
I agree. I think yes, we ask these questions from a place which is very self-limiting, where we think that the information we have is enough to at least form a question, and hence when we ask it, it doesn't make any sense, and then we have this anxiety. So asking the question, how we ask it from a human perspective, from an individualistic, separated perspective from our environment, from the universe, I agree 100% that it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense sometimes. Okay. So there are very few people in the world I've met, and I have tried to meet a lot of people. That's what I try to do and ask them these questions as much as I could. It's very rare that you meet a person who knew in their young teenage that what they want to do and what they want to be, and that is who they turn out to be.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Well, you're pretty creepy. So how, I mean, you are one of the rare people who I have met who are like this. Who knows? So how's it like? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to know that.
okay. Yeah.
But I actually know a lot of actors who have it similarly.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
So all these kind of people now are going to acting field.
Yeah, my classmates.
I find it very interesting, your training, your introspection, the definition of acting these days, which I'm listening about in conservatories and these drama schools. It's very different from our society in terms of the education style. It's education style, and I mean it's a to be an actor.
That's actually that was a big reason for me that I went into acting. I really suffered at school. Like I hated studying in the way that you're meant to study. I wouldn't mind learning things, but just especially school system in the Czech Republic is a bit different from the UK system. As a kid, until you turn maybe 16, 17, you do all the subjects. So from 6 till 16, you have to learn everything from physics, chemistry, geography, biology, mathematics, languages. Like you do everything. You don't choose. I think in the UK for A-levels and stuff, you start choosing your few areas that you focus on. But there you would have 18 subjects in a year.
Okay.
So it was a lot. But then you don't become expert at anything. You just learn all these things. And I wasn't good at a lot of those things. And it was the way it was taught was very much you have to remember by heart these dates and these events and these names of these cells. And it was not about exploring things and how something influences something else and trying to figure out the solutions. It was just learning them.
Okay.
And it just didn't sit with me. And I had a really bad time. I didn't like studying. I had bad marks. Which caused quite an anxiety about me thinking that I'm not intelligent. For a long time, I just was convinced that I am actually really stupid because I didn't do well in this education system. And so when I started doing dramas, when I did youth theater, it was like an eye-opener, basically.
Yeah, we definitely there's a problem right there with our education system. Rather than igniting creativity, unfortunately we are at a point where education makes people turn off their curiosity.
Yeah. And actually, I think actors and artists in general have to be very intelligent and really aware. So it's It's counterproductive. It doesn't make sense. All the people I know are extremely smart. But so, yeah.
So we'll come to acting, but first I want to just, ask more into the type of personality that type of personality which I was mentioning, someone who know what they want to do. What are the so I think this is where it is. You said that you like to focus on one thing. You can't focus and you can't specialize. What are the negative aspects of it? I mean, we all, are jealous and wants to be this person who just knows, what they want to do. Because the people, I think, when I find out, at some point in my life that this is what I want to do, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of responsibility. You want it so much.
Yeah.
You want it, as you said, it was life and death.
Yeah, there is a lot of heartbreak too. It's really tough emotionally. I think that's why a lot of actors have anxiety and depression. Or maybe because they have anxiety and depression, they become actors. There's always this question. But basically, every time I apply for a job, as in for a role, every time I'm preparing for a character, there's always, first of all, it's never confirmed, it's never sure. I'm never 100% that it's gonna be me who's gonna be chosen for it. There is so much competition. Everyone feels like they can judge on what you do. That's another thing, which is very interesting. In other areas, not many people can really give you your opinion on your job because they themselves would have to be experts at that job. But it seems like with performance, because it's something so subjective and something that most of us can relate to and are used to listening and judging stories, there is a lot of social pressure. And if you go in deep, you might discover things that you don't like or that are tough to deal with. You have to face your traumas, and which is good. That's why it's so amazing. But if you can't, then a lot of people struggle as well.
Is that common to have this tendency of people who are high achievers, as Gabor Mate say, they do have a trauma behind them, but also they are trying to reconnect somehow. Hence, workaholicism comes into play. I mean, is that the same relationship you have, or is it different for you?
I wouldn't say I had a trauma. I think those are strong words.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think I had a trauma. So the relationship is probably different. Sorry, what was the...
I mean, workaholicism, is that how many people you have seen in your field, let's say, who it requires huge amount of commitments?
Yeah, we'll see. Because I think I am still at a level, I am still at the beginning of my career, and most of the people I know are at the beginning of their careers as well. I don't know that many people who have actually been doing this for 15, 20 years yet, and how they feel about it, if they've been successful or not. So I think this is something I can answer a bit later. Because I think that those people who actually are able to do this job full time are extremely hardworking people and workaholics. In most cases, there are cases when someone had a family member or inherited money or got into it a different way. But most cases, those are extremely hardworking people. Because the competition is so high, you really have to be working on yourself every day. So, and not all my classmates are like that right now, but it might prove that in the future, not all of them will make it.
Yeah. Okay, so would you consider yourself as a workaholic?
Yes.
Okay, that was quick. How? What is the definition in your mind?
It means that I have high goals, which means I spend the majority of my time working for those goals. And I don't have almost any free time. Now it's much better than it used to be, but I didn't used to have almost any free time. Which means either I would be working in a job to earn money to support myself, or I would be going to uni to train, or I would be in the evenings or nights or weekends working on something related to my profession. And if I had a day, even now, a day for me without doing something for my profession or for my dream, whatever, is a real struggle. Like sometimes I have to force myself to say, no, you deserve a break. Now we'll just usually watch a movie, because that's related anyway, because I convince myself that if I watch a movie, I'm still learning because I'm watching other actors. But sometimes, okay, let's read a book. But still, I would choose a book that somehow enhances me.
I'm sure this is the story of so many. You just spoke from so many people's heart who are harsh on themselves, who wants same scenario which I was talking about, who want to achieve a lot of things, and of course that's it. They don't. But there's a distinction. I think I would like to raise, and then you tell me how accurate it is. You said, oh, my profession and my dream, same thing. I think that's the distinction here, because you are not setting up goals now to, rely on this next thing which you would achieve, which would, make you satisfied and fulfilled, rather than, how I've discovered that tasks are just things which are just signposts and goals which you choose to move forward rather than move towards them and to be worried about them and to be bogged down by them. You use them to increase your skill, which is a different approach. But you're not setting up goals like that. You are the goal, as if the passion was there for you, and this passion is to be an actor, which you said to be honest and to go deeper. Hence, you're working towards that, which is a beautiful and infinite goal. So I think how it's even harder when you are going towards something like this to avoid the pitfalls of workaholicism, which you are
because
mentioning.
It's so abstract?
It's less materialistic. It is, you don't want to be a CEO of a company and then you go there and you find out, oh my God, this is yes, you learn a lot to be the CEO of a company, but if you don't learn after being, if that's what you want, if you want to build the most successful product in some place, if you want to be the best runner, let's imagine, if after that there is you still feel that there has to be a next thing and you have to make a goal to reach to a point of peace, I think it's easier to distinguish your workaholism. It's easier to somehow understand. I'm not saying it's easier to not be a workaholic. I'm just saying that the somehow the point becomes way blurry and more infused when the journey and the goal and the passion is all mixed together. So you are working towards a passion which is a very human endeavor.
Yeah, but I think that's because I love every moment. It doesn't feel like a workaholism to me. It's other people say I'm a workaholic, and that's why I'm like, yes, I probably am. But for me, every hour, every task I do, I love it. I love it so much. I am extremely lucky in that way. It's not work for me. So maybe that's why workaholism isn't the perfect definition. It's like a passionism or something.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a perfect goal.
It's enjoyable, so I don't get tired or
Yeah, it's a tricky question. It's being human is being attached. Being attached towards things are fine to be human. You can work like a Buddha all your life on perfecting your skills to be attached in a balanced way. We are somehow these organisms and machines who are driven towards something. We are task-oriented, problem-solving, evolutionary product, but even our presence, which is in its best possible state, is still in calm, is still exploring somehow and mixing into something and creating something. So I think you are correct when you say that the definition is not accurate, but what is the price you pay of this? Because it's a beautiful life, it's brilliant, it's amazing that you know where you want to go, you are there most of the time, and the work you do, you love it. I mean, this is amazing, but there has to be a price. What is the price?
Well, I don't have any money.
Okay.
It's really hard to make living at this point. And how would I say this? I am not yet where I want to be. I want to be a lot better than I am right now in acting. Every time I see myself, I film something, already I feel like I can do so many more things better. I am learning still a lot. And the dreams I have, I'm not even 1/10 there. And I know that's might sound maybe ungrateful, I don't know, because I am doing what I love, but I sacrifice a lot to be able to do what I love. I sacrifice security, stability, even relationships with my family. I am not living in my country right now because I couldn't do what I love there, so I went away to be able to do it somewhere else. But I have really strong relationships with my family, with my mom, with my dad, and I have 3 siblings. And every day, especially because my brother only turned 15 now, so I've been gone from his age 10 till 15, and I felt every day like I'm missing out on him growing up because I love my brother so much. So, and likewise with my friends, I don't have time to have that many friends. I have a few really good friends, but I don't see them probably as often as other people see their friends. And people who do really well lose a lot of other things like privacy. Like they are being judged all the time. I don't really want to get to that stage. I would be very happy if I can just do my job, get some nice play in some nice theater, or do a nice film.
So you are living your life. You are going for your most honest instinct, which is towards this place. If I ask you a question, are you satisfied with your life? How much are you satisfied with your life right now?
10 out of 10.
Okay, so then that's it. I mean, you are not waiting. You're not.
Yeah, but
You,
that's it.
yeah. So you are going for that raw reality and your instinct, and that requires, of course, as you mentioned, a lot of sacrifice. And there's a skill which you have, which I love, and I've learned so much. And I think that skill, if half of it I would have, you know, well, that's again same thing. Of course, I wouldn't have then, because I then wouldn't be here. If someone else wants to start something, and I'm still learning from you this skill, which is that you would think of a project. So you have made short films, you have made a theater play, and what is your age right now?
24.
24. You did it when you were, I think, 21, maybe, or 20, and around this age, 20 to 23, you made these things. This is on the side where after you're doing everything else, and then this is what you want to do. You had an idea in your mind, you wrote. I think, are you writing these days also? You're interested in writing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah. But the skill is that you wrote something and you wanted to make it, and you were young, and you made it happen without any resources and without thinking too much. And I think this is a brilliant skill. And I think,
thank you.
yeah, no, how do you do it?
I really, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't know what to do with myself otherwise. The moment I sit home and I don't have something to work on, or something I don't have, I mean, I get these like stories or ideas in my mind, as many people do, and if I didn't try somehow to make them come to life, what else would I do? I would just sit at home.
I must mention this to you, that when I was watching that play and I hear so many people laugh, I came out and I was standing outside. Your sister was there, and Yuchana, who you did play with, was there. I felt joy afterwards, true joy. And I was thinking, wow, life is beautiful. You put up a play which you love, you enjoyed, you brought people together, they loved it, they laughed. I felt the most joyful moments of my life. This is brilliant. This is the example of when David Krakauer talks about, he is an astrophysicist and a mathematician, that you don't always have to have your personal goals, fulfillment, or personal happiness conflicted with society. Of course, you should get the reward, and then it should also serve your society. And I think this is a perfect example. There are so many goals which people wants to do, and they would think that either these are too selfish to actually pursue, or they think, I truly want to do it and it's a big task and it is grandiose and I need to be someone first to achieve it. Or it's just the old fashioned laziness. That's just nothing complicated in that. But I think these tools which you have, are these the one which makes you think about, when you said you think a lot about what is the purpose, why am I here, what is the, do you think a lot about existential thoughts?
Yes.
How often?
I don't know how often other people think about existential things. I think probably we all do, but a lot. I would say every day. Every day, yeah. every day I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay. So, okay, I see why. I see. Every day you wanna explore deeper, you wanna be more
Yes.
honest, and you see that in your honesty, inside of you, there is this abyss, and it is, yes,
Yeah,
existential and
it's
infinity.
scary, but again, this is my way of dealing with it or exploring it. I don't. This is my way of taking a question or an idea or a thought or a worry and building a story around it and exploring it. And then, if I am lucky, and if I, not every project has come to life either. Let's not be.
Yeah, of course.
So not everything has worked out, but if it works out, then I have the opportunity to share this idea or this story or this worry, whatever it may be, with people, and then getting their feedback on it and seeing their reaction or hearing their opinion. And it's really important to me, this, because if I don't, that if I don't do something creative for a long time, I really get lost. I get depressed. I don't know how to deal with all these existential things.
So this is your answer, creative answer. You are creating, you are swimming in art, and you are dissipating the boundaries of your being while exploding colors.
That's a nice way to put it.
And is that how and why the acting itself is evolving? Because you've seen acting and the role and the art itself and the definition and just the core of it means what kind of people now are coming there, what kind of techniques have been taught. I have met and seen and listening to interviews of different actors. It's a very different approach. People talk very differently, and you are one of those people. Could you tell us how acting was? What are different type of actors? Are there different type of actings, and how it is evolving now?
I think the sole reason why it is evolving is that the world is changing. People are changing. The way people talk has changed so much since the 50s. Like, you can see it, you can hear it on old radio channels or in old films. It's completely different. And good art is trying to reflect that, trying to, reflect the world. So that's why it's changing. So 50 years ago, films would reflect the topics of that time, all that, how would I say that? The grandiose of those ideas.
Oh, hold on. Are you saying that as we are getting to know ourselves deeper, as a human species, we are understanding that our muddy egos, which we were trying to convert into these castles, are coming down? We are reflecting that kind of surge is somehow reflected into art, but not, of course, it's reflected into art because the artists, the humans who are creating that art is tuning in more because they are more sensitive in our species. So the job is now harder, or the job has become more serious?
I think it's more important. Maybe more challenging. Yeah, I mean, everything is becoming faster and more competitive, and but at the same time you have much more resources, much better technology. People are more educated. Everything is evolving constantly. But I definitely, what you said is really interesting. I didn't know even that. I don't know if I put it that way. I think you just made it sound a lot cooler. But I think it's definitely true that the ideas of this world 50 years ago were very different than they are now. We are seeing much more. We are looking at things much more honestly. Even you can see it in the climate action that's been happening in the past 2 years. We're really stripping down things now. You can see it with the Me Too movement. I know there you can make a lot of fun of it as well, or it can be quite controversial. But on the other hand, things are happening. People are trying to become more honest.
That's mind-blowing that the ripple which is now being created into this space-time continuum, and somehow this species of ours, which is another life form, is trying to react, and those vibrations are now felt more deeply with the individuals who are more open and looking, and they are, I think they are gratified, but they are bathing in that like divine message. You can call it divine just because it's more connected, to feel that vibration and then reflect it. And as the vibration, as the message is getting stronger and stronger, the sense to feel that message is getting stronger, and it's getting distributed into more of these agents.
Well, that's globalization, isn't it? In a way.
True.
That's being connected
crazy
through all this media we have. I mean,
and that through that globalization, the canvas has become somehow one, and there are so many artists, which makes it so hard, creates a lot of social overwhelm. But yes, the art, the one, especially this art, filmmaking and acting, I think I need to look deeper into this. And I think that's why my film is my prayers. I think I pray when I watch films. I see that vibration reflecting back, and I lose myself. And that's why I call cinema as my church.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So how do you then define that kind of vibration and that kind of acting right now in more pragmatic, more learning, or more structural terms? Maybe not structural, but in an education style.
I think it goes back to the honesty. It's when you work on a character now, you can look at performances like Joker, like Joaquin Phoenix in Joker. When you work on a character, you don't go from outside inside. You go from inside outside. So you don't start just by how they look, how they talk, how they move, and then that's the character. You really go in. It's like that's why acting is so close to psychology, because you really go inside the character and you go into their childhood and into their traumas, as I said, and you try to figure out why is this person like they are, and what are the ways that they express all these existential questions, and so that's why I think acting now is so much better. It's the best it's ever been.
It's fascinating. I mean, of course, Shakespeare said about the stage. Life is a stage, but so you think, so if he's Joaquin Phoenix, let's make it more easier. So Joaquin Phoenix is going inside and figuring out actors can successfully be not themselves, either, or let's put it the other way, they can access different part of themselves which are so different than their normal waking consciousness that it becomes a different human. which means either we have access to a shared consciousness of humanity itself, or each and every individual is carrying a sea of humanity within them. Because you are accessing things which are just beyond my understanding.
That's a beautiful way of putting it. I don't know. But the character definitely has its own life. If you go into it well enough, you don't control it anymore. It does whatever it wants.
Wow.
I'm sure Joaquin Phoenix wasn't Joaquin Phoenix in those scenes. He was Joker, because the character, and that's why it's so good, because that's why it's so rewarding as well for the actor, because you completely get out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
I am a lot, as I said, in my head during my life, because I think about these things constantly. I can't help it. But when I act, I am not in my head at all. I am completely flowing.
So you're in a flow state.
Yes.
And you're combining presence.
I am completely present, and the character steps in and does its job.
Wow. So that's exactly what it is.
It's like
an
a medium.
Artist. Yes.
Sometimes I feel like a medium.
True. Always.
As in, not in a, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Always
Not
with,
that,
yes. As an artist, yes.
And I am because that's why it's such a cooperative job as well. You can't do it on your own. You need a writer. You need someone who explores these characters with you. It's not just you. The writer explores them and writes them, then you explore them, you take them on, then the director explores them and shapes them so that they fit into the environment. It's like a cooperation of a lot of different people, and then the costume designer explores them, and the hair and makeup artist it's a
Yes, it's a combination of
so many creative minds.
Beautiful flow state, presence, and it comes through me, not from me.
Mm-hmm.
That's but when you are flowing, when you're on stage, and you say this character has its own life, it's similar to so many traditions older civilization, older tribes have about static dancing, about psychedelics, about chanting, about these songs which we sing together, where a form of life acts through us, interacts with us, becomes our presence, and becomes the presence of all what we know. So when you are on stage, or when you are acting, or when maybe Joaquin Phoenix was acting, how that life form, how that feel to you at that time, or there is no separation from that life form and then who you think you are?
For me, there is a separation. I feel them. Sometimes they surprise me, and I've seen a lot of my colleagues be surprised by their character. It's a really beautiful thing to see.
Wow.
So you just kind of, you're in it. You just observe it. You're just observing it, what it's doing. Not always you get into that state either. Not always you manage to be in flow state. Sometimes just some things don't sit right. You don't sit right with the character, you can't get into it, and then it's hard work. But when it sits, it's beautiful. And I've seen one of my colleagues at Drama Center, a wonderful actress. She was doing an exercise, and she was playing this really dramatic, strong woman, Hedda Gabler, character who kills herself at the end of the play because she can't bear her own existential thoughts. It goes back to what we were talking about. And she was doing this exercise and she got completely lost in the character. And suddenly my teacher shouted at her because she was using candles and light and fire, which is not allowed because the whole school the water alarms could start and like it would be a problem. So he shouted at her like, close the fire, and she was completely in the character. And so she just took the candle, put it on her tongue and closed it that way, and then carried on. And we were all like, what? And then after the exercise finished, the teacher asked her, so how did you come up with doing that? And she was like, doing what? And he was like, well, do you do that? Putting the candle on your tongue. And she was like, what did I do? She's never done that in her life. How does that even come into your mind? That's totally the character talking.
Wow. Okay. I think I would sleep good today. I think I would need some time to explore this.
Yeah, and that's why you are a big fan of movies as well. When you see people who do this right, it's really, you connect to something. It's like you said, it's like they're channeled to some kind of I don't know, overall consciousness, and once you are there, you plug in as well into this program. It's like you join.
Yes.
You share these ideas and feelings.
Yes. I want to be right in front row when these kind of prayers are going on. This is the evolution of prayer we should talk about. I mean, beautiful. Okay, Raza, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for wanting to talk to me,
My pleasure. Anytime. Thank you so much for sharing your life, your thoughts. Bye, everyone.